Oh man, physical maps are great! They help you get from point A to point B, and if those physical maps reflect video game worlds, well, getting from point A to point B is even easier, because point B is always the trash can. And for some reason, which will surely not come back as a gag later on in this video, I've got to go make some fish sticks. I'll be right back. Maps as a concept are very helpful when navigating video game worlds. Modern exploration games almost always provide an in-game map so the player can check their position and waypoints with just the click of a button. But when the game requires us to turn away from the screen to reference a paper map, oh, they might as well be asking us to abandon our cat as we look for a slightly easier way to prevent abandoning our cat. Turning away from a video game is hard. It runs counter to the very idea of a video game. The flashing lights and the positive feedback loops are meant to keep you staring directly at the screen at all times. Fun fact, the angle of a video game player's neck pivot is equal in hardship to the distance settlers traveled along the Santa Fe Trail. That's a historical fact. And it's a fact that can only be corroborated via the use of sources that are not listed in that video game that you're staring at right now. So, as far as you'll ever know, it's a fact. Physical video game maps may have served their purpose in the past. There's an argument to be made that retro video games lacked the onboard memory required for full in-game maps, especially detailed ones. So physical maps could actually be useful, but I generally don't buy that logic. Those same retro games largely relied on the player's pattern recognition and rote memory to brute force through the game, making any map just a representation of something the player already knows pretty well. I mean, I don't rely on maps to navigate places I know very well, like my house. Or my folder structure on my hard drive where I keep all of my embarrassing kinks. Sometimes video games will come packaged with a physical map even when the game already has an in-game map. This practice is known in the video game marketing industry as a value add, meaning the map is meant to add value to the game, which is dumb, because the map is useless. Unless, of course, it allows you to locate the secret spot on the map where pirates have hidden the logic that determines packaging a paper map in a game that already has an in-game map. Despite the absurdity, it's pretty common actually for maps to be packaged with video games these days, and even more so with collector's editions of games, because nothing entices a collector more than junk. If you are a collector of anything other than junk, say survival essentials, then you aren't a collector, you are a prepper. And if you pay top dollar for an antique tin of cloves to add to your food collection, then you are a prepper who will be very lonely in the post-nuclear apocalypse. As a value add for collectors, the map, I feel, has got to be one of the weakest inclusions. I've never known a collector to unbox a special edition box only to toss away everything until finding the map. Hey, and you can't be offended. I'm allowed to say that collectors love junk, because my walls are covered with video game maps. Here's one from Hyperlight Drifter. This map looks great from a distance as an art piece. As a functional map, it's junk. This one from The Witcher 3 is the same. Looks neat, functions terribly. This one from Firewatch is interesting because though the game has an in-game map, the animation when activating it mimics a real hand pulling up the map. And to further the sense of immersion, the in-game map lacks robust markers, meaning the in-game map is functionally the same as a physical map. Yeah, if you sync your button press just right, you'll feel like you're playing a VR game. Wow. I can almost smell the smoke from the forest fire. This giant map from Fallout 4 is somewhat useful as a blanket. This Red Dead Redemption 2 map focuses on identifying the region names and boundaries. With maps like this, I like to play a fun game called Guess Which Region the Interesting Stuff Will Take Place In. Hint, it's always the region with lots of roads and buildings. This Fallout 76 map glows in the dark, which seems like it would be very handy for a map. This way, you can see all of the important map markers, but then again, the world itself is dark, so that's dumb. I guess we go this way? Well, where are you pointing? North. Which way's north? I can't see my compass. This map from Axiom Verge is probably the most practical map in my collection. It uses color to clearly designate areas. It's got a super robust legend with key points, weapons, and upgrade locations. This is a map done right. In fact, the only area of interest it's missing is directions to the nearest seafood restaurant, because I could sure go for some, oh crap, I left the fish sticks in the oven.